Hello, friends. Welcome back to Old Coins News. Today, we're going to talk about 5 interesting Lincoln wheat cent coins from the United States, 1940, 1944, 1946, 1951, and 1956. These coins feature famous mottos like Liberty, In God We Trust, and E Pluribus Unum, along with the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln. So, friends, let's start the video. The 1937 1-cent coin of the United States of America, widely known among collectors as a Lincoln wheat cent, is a remarkable piece of history that carries both cultural meaning and collectible interest. When you mention hand shear argent, it suggests the idea of a coin with a silvery or unusual appearance, possibly altered, plated, or struck with an error, but in its original and authentic form, the 1937 penny is made of copper, not silver. This coin represents a time when even the smallest denomination had importance in everyday life, especially during the economic recovery period following the Great Depression. The coin is not just currency, it is a historical artifact that reflects the identity, values, and artistic expression of early 20th century America. On the obverse front of a 1937 penny, you will find a dignified portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. Lincoln's image faces right, symbolizing forward vision and leadership. Above his head is the inscription, In God We Trust, a phrase that became a permanent fixture on U.S. coins and reflects the nation's reliance on faith. To the left side of Lincoln is the word Liberty, representing freedom and democracy, while the date 1937 appears on the right side, marking the year this coin was minted. These inscriptions together create a powerful message of national identity and values. The design itself was groundbreaking when first introduced in 1909, as it marked the first time a real historical figure appeared on a circulating U.S. coin. Turning to the reverse side, the coin features 2 wheat stalks curving along the edges, which is why it is commonly called a wheat penny. These wheat ears symbolize growth, agriculture, and prosperity, important themes for a country that was still heavily tied to farming at the time. In the center, the bold inscription 1 cent clearly states the denomination, and just below it is United States of America. At the top of the reverse is a Latin motto, E Pluribus Unum, meaning out of many, one, emphasizing unity among the states. This simple yet meaningful design remained in use until 1958, making it one of the longest-running coin designs in U.S. history. The 1937 Lincoln wheat cent were produced at 3 major U.S. mint facilities: the Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark, the Denver Mint, marked with a D, and the San Francisco Mint, marked with an S. Each mint produced millions of coins, meaning the 1937 penny is not extremely rare in general circulation. However, collectors often look for specific mint marks and high-grade examples. Coins in worn condition may only be worth a small premium over face value, but uncirculated coins with sharp detail and original luster can be significantly more valuable. The condition of the coin, ranging from good, heavily worn, to mint state, no wear, plays a major role in determining its worth. An interesting aspect of the 1937 penny is the possibility of errors or unusual variations. While not as famous as some other era coins, collectors still search for double dies, off-center strikes, or coins with unusual coloration. If your coin appears silver or argent in color, it is likely not made of silver but could be plated, for example, coated with zinc or chrome, or affected by environmental conditions. In rare cases, experimental or error coins can have unusual appearances, but such pieces require professional authentication to confirm their authenticity and value. The composition of the 1937 penny is 95% copper, with the remaining 5% consisting of tin and zinc. This composition gives the coin its classic reddish-brown color when freshly minted. Over time, exposure to air, moisture, and handling causes the surface to oxidize, turning the coin brown or even dark in appearance. Collectors often classify these coins by color: red Rhode, red-brown RB, and brown BN, with red coins generally being the most desirable and valuable. Historically, the year 1937 falls within a significant period in American history. The country was still dealing with the effects of the Great Depression, and coins like the 1-cent piece were widely used in daily transactions. At that time, a penny could actually buy small items such as candy or contribute meaningfully to savings. This gives the 1937 penny a nostalgic and historical charm, as it represents a time when money had different value and meaning compared to today. From a collector's perspective, the 1937 Lincoln wheat cent is both accessible and meaningful. It is often one of the first coins new collectors acquire, yet it still holds interest for experienced numismatists due to its historical background and potential for high-grade finds. While it may not be among the rarest U.S. coins, its connection to Abraham Lincoln, its classic wheat design, and its place in American history make it a timeless collectible. In conclusion, the 1937 1-cent coin is far more than just a piece of old currency. It is a symbol of unity, resilience, and national pride. The inscriptions "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and "E Pluribus Unum" reflect the core values of the United States, while the image of Abraham Lincoln connects the coin to one of the nation's most respected leaders. Whether you are examining it for its value, its design, or its history, the 1937 Lincoln wheat cent offers a rich and fascinating story that continues to capture the interest of collectors around the world. The 1949 1-cent coin of the United States of America, commonly known as the Lincoln wheat cent, is a classic and historically rich coin that reflects post-war America and its economic recovery after World War II. This coin continues a famous design first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birth anniversary of Abraham Lincoln. By 1949, the Lincoln cent had already become one of the most widely recognized coins in the world, circulating through the hands of millions of Americans during a time of rebuilding, growth, and optimism. Even though it is a small copper coin, it carries deep historical, artistic, and symbolic importance. On the obverse front of the 1949 penny, you will see the right-facing portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. This portrait is simple yet powerful, representing leadership, unity, and the enduring legacy of a president who guided the nation through the Civil War. Above Lincoln's head is the inscription "In God We Trust," a motto that reflects the nation's faith and was officially adopted on U.S. coinage in the 19th century. To the left of Lincoln is the word "liberty," symbolizing freedom and democracy, while the year 1949 appears on the right side, marking the specific time this coin was minted. These inscriptions are not just decorative. They communicate the core values and identity of the United States. The reverse side of the 1949 Lincoln wheat cent features the iconic wheat ear design, which give the coin its popular name. Two curved wheat stalks frame the sides of the coin, symbolizing agricultural strength and national prosperity. In the center, the bold inscription 1 cent identifies the denomination, and below it is United States of America. At the top of the reverse appears the Latin motto "E Pluribus Unum," meaning out of many, one. This phrase emphasizes unity among the states, a theme that strongly connects to Abraham Lincoln's legacy and the country's continued development as a unified nation. The 1949 penny was minted at 3 primary facilities: the Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark, the Denver Mint, marked with a D, and the San Francisco Mint, marked with an S. Each mint produced large quantities of these coins, making them relatively common in circulated condition. However, collectors often pay close attention to mint marks, as certain variations, especially in higher grades, can carry additional value. For example, well-preserved coins from San Francisco 1949S or Denver 1949D in mint condition can be more desirable than heavily circulated Philadelphia coins. The composition of the 1949 Lincoln wheat cent is primarily copper, 95% copper with 5% tin and zinc. This gives the coin its distinctive reddish tone when newly minted. Over time, exposure to air and handling causes oxidation, changing the coin's color to brown or dark brown. Collectors categorize these coins based on their color: red Rhode, red brown RB, and brown BN. Coins that retain their original red luster are usually the most valuable, especially if they are in uncirculated condition with sharp details and minimal marks. In terms of historical context, the year 1949 represents a period of transition and growth in the United States. The country was emerging from the effects of World War II and entering a time of industrial expansion and rising consumer culture. Coins like the 1949 penny were part of everyday transactions, used to buy goods, make change, and support daily life. At that time, even a single cent had more purchasing power than it does today, making this coin an important part of daily commerce. Holding a 1949 penny today connects you to that era, a time when the nation was rebuilding and looking toward the future. Collectors also look for errors and special features in 1949 pennies. While not as famous as some rare era coins, there can still be minor variations such as double dies, repunch mint marks, or off-center strikes. These errors can increase the coin's value significantly, depending on their visibility and rarity. Additionally, coins with strong strike quality, clear details in Lincoln's hair and sharp lettering, are more desirable among collectors. The 1949 Lincoln wheat cent is considered a great coin for both beginners and experienced collectors. Its availability makes it easy to find, while its historical significance adds depth to any collection. It represents continuity in American coin design, as a wheat cent series continued until 1958 before being replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design. This long-running design has become iconic, and coins like the 1949 penny are an important part of that legacy. In conclusion, the 1949 1-cent coin is more than just a small piece of copper. It is a symbol of American resilience, unity, and tradition. From the portrait of Abraham Lincoln to the meaningful inscriptions "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and "E Pluribus Unum," every detail tells a story about the nation's values and history. Whether you are a coin collector, a history enthusiast, or simply curious about old coins, the 1949 Lincoln wheat cent offers a fascinating glimpse into the past and remains a cherished collectible to this day. The 1955 D 1-cent coin of the United States of America, widely recognized as part of the Lincoln wheat cent series, is a fascinating and historically meaningful coin that represents mid-20th century America during a time of rapid economic growth and cultural change. This coin continues the iconic design first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birth anniversary of Abraham Lincoln. By 1955, the Lincoln cent had become one of the most familiar coins in everyday American life, used in daily transactions across the country. Although it is a small denomination, the 1955 D penny carries deep historical significance, artistic value, and strong appeal among coin collectors. On the obverse front of the coin, you will find the right-facing portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. This portrait is simple yet powerful, capturing the calm and determined expression of a leader who preserved the Union during one of the nation's most difficult times. Above Lincoln's head appears the inscription, "In God We Trust," a phrase that reflects the spiritual foundation and faith of the nation. To the left side of the portrait is the word "liberty," symbolizing freedom and independence, core values of the United States. On the right side is the date 1955, along with a small D mint mark, indicating that this particular coin was struck at the Denver Mint. This mint mark is an important detail for collectors, as it distinguishes a coin from those produced at other mints. The reverse side of the 1955 D Lincoln wheat cent features the classic wheat ear design that gives the series its popular name. Two wheat stalks curve along the edges of the coin, symbolizing agriculture, growth, and national prosperity. In the center, the bold inscription 1 cent clearly states the denomination, and below it is United States of America. At the top of the reverse, the Latin motto E Pluribus Unum is prominently displayed, meaning out of many, one. This phrase emphasizes unity among the states and reflects the foundational principle of the nation coming together as a single entity. The composition of the 1955 D penny is primarily copper, consisting of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. This gives the coin its original bright reddish color when newly minted. Over time, due to oxidation and handling, many of these coins have turned brown or dark brown. Collectors categorize these coins based on their color: red Rhode, red brown RB, and brown BN. Coins that still retain their original red luster are generally more valuable, especially if they are in uncirculated condition with minimal wear and strong details. The year 1955 is particularly interesting in the world of coin collecting because of the famous 1955 double die penny, which is one of the most well-known and valuable era coins in U.S. history. However, it is important to note that the famous double die era occurred on coins minted in Philadelphia, which have no mint mark, not on the 1955 D coin from Denver. While the 1955 D penny does not share that specific dramatic era, collectors still examine these coins closely for other minor varieties, such as repunch mint marks or subtle doubling. Even without major errors, high-quality examples of the 1955 D penny can still be desirable. In terms of mintage, the Denver Mint produced a large number of 1955 D pennies, making them relatively common in circulated condition. However, finding coins in high-grade uncirculated condition with full detail and original luster can be more challenging. The value of the coin depends heavily on its condition. Circulated coins may only be worth a small premium above face value, while uncirculated coins with sharp details and bright surfaces can be worth significantly more to collectors. Historically, the 1955 D Lincoln wheat cent reflects a time of prosperity in the United States. The country was experiencing economic growth, suburban expansion, and increased consumer spending following the end of World War II. Coins like this were used daily in transactions, from buying groceries to paying for transportation. At that time, a penny still had meaningful purchasing power, making it an important part of everyday life. Holding a 1955 D penny today is like holding a small piece of that era, a time of optimism, growth, and change. From a collector's perspective, the 1955 D Lincoln wheat cent is an essential part of completing a wheat cent collection. While it may not be the rarest coin in the series, it holds value due to its historical context, classic design, and connection to the broader story of American coinage. Collectors often seek coins with strong strikes, clear lettering, and minimal wear. The details in Lincoln's hair, the sharpness of the wheat stalks, and the clarity of the inscriptions all play a role in determining the coin's desirability. In conclusion, the 1955 D 1 cent coin is much more than just a small copper coin. It is a symbol of American heritage, unity, and progress. The portrait of Abraham Lincoln, combined with the inscriptions "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and "E Pluribus Unum," reflects the values and identity of the United States. Whether you are a beginner collector or an experienced numismatist, the 1955 D Lincoln wheat cent offers a rich blend of history, design, and collectible appeal that continues to captivate enthusiasts around the world. The 1942 1 cent coin of the United States of America, known to collectors as a Lincoln wheat cent, is a deeply historical and meaningful coin that reflects one of the most important periods in modern history, the early years of World War II. This coin continues the iconic design introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of the birth of Abraham Lincoln. By 1942, the Lincoln cent had already become a symbol of American identity, circulating widely across the country and representing both economic activity and national values during a time of global conflict and uncertainty. On the obverse front of the 1942 penny, the familiar right-facing portrait of Abraham Lincoln appears, designed by the talented sculptor Victor David Brenner. Lincoln's calm and thoughtful expression symbolizes strength, unity, and leadership, qualities that were especially important during wartime. Above his head is the inscription "In God We Trust," reflecting the nation's reliance on faith during difficult times. To the left of Lincoln is the word "Liberty," representing freedom and democracy, while the year 1942 is displayed on the right side. These inscriptions together create a powerful message about the core principles of the United States. The reverse side of the 1942 Lincoln wheat cent features the classic wheat ear design, which give the coin its popular name. Two wheat stalks frame the coin along the left and right edges, symbolizing agricultural strength and prosperity. In the center, the bold inscription 1 cent clearly identifies a denomination, and below it is United States of America. At the top of the reverse appears the Latin motto "E Pluribus Unum," meaning out of many, one. This phrase emphasizes unity among the states, a concept that was especially significant during World War II, when national unity was essential for success. The 1942 penny was minted at three major facilities: the Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark; the Denver Mint, with a D mint mark; and the San Francisco Mint, with an S mint mark. Each of these mints produced millions of coins, making the 1942 penny relatively common in circulated condition. However, collectors still value these coins based on their mint mark, condition, and any unique features. High-grade coins with sharp details and minimal wear are particularly desirable. One of the most interesting aspects of the 1942 Lincoln wheat cent is its composition. The coin is made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, giving it its characteristic reddish color when new. However, 1942 was a transitional year in U.S. coinage because copper was needed for the war effort. This led to the production of the famous 1943 steel cents the following year. As a result, the 1942 penny represents one of the last years before the significant change in material. Because of this historical context, the 1942 copper penny holds special interest for collectors as a pre-war composition coin. Over time, the appearance of 1942 pennies can vary depending on their condition and exposure to the environment. Freshly minted coins had a bright red color, but many have since turned brown due to oxidation. Collectors categorize these coins into red road, red brown, RB, and brown BN based on their color. Red coins with original luster are generally more valuable, especially in uncirculated condition. The condition of the coin, ranging from heavily worn to mint state, plays a major role in determining its value. Collectors also look for errors and varieties in 1942 pennies. While not as famous as some other era coins, there are still minor variations such as double dies, repunched mint marks, or off-center strikes that can increase the coin's value. Coins with strong strikes, clear details in Lincoln's hair and sharp wheat stalks on the reverse are especially prized. Even small differences in quality can make a significant difference in value among collectors. The historical context of 1942 adds another layer of importance to this coin. The United States had just entered World War II after the attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941, and the nation was mobilizing its resources for the war effort. Coins like the 1942 penny were used in everyday transactions, from buying food to supporting local economies. At that time, even a single cent had meaningful purchasing power. Holding a 1942 penny today is like holding a piece of history from a time when the world was undergoing dramatic change. From a collector's perspective, the 1942 Lincoln wheat cent is an essential part of any wheat cent collection. It is widely available, making it accessible for beginners, yet it also offers enough variety and historical significance to interest experienced collectors. Its connection to World War II, its classic design, and its role in everyday American life make it a valuable and meaningful collectible. In conclusion, the 1942 1-cent coin is far more than just a small piece of copper. It is a symbol of resilience, unity, and national identity during one of the most challenging periods in history. The portrait of Abraham Lincoln, along with the inscriptions "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and "E Pluribus Unum," reflects the enduring values of the United States. Whether you are a collector, a history enthusiast, or simply curious about old coins, the 1942 Lincoln wheat cent offers a rich and fascinating story that continues to capture interest and admiration around the world. The 1951 Lincoln wheat cent is an important coin in the history of American currency and one of the well-known pieces from the classic wheat penny series. This coin was issued by the United States Mint during the early 1950s, a period when the United States was experiencing strong economic growth after the end of World War II. The coin carries several famous inscriptions that represent the ideals and traditions of the United States. On the front side of the coin, known as the obverse, you will see the portrait of Abraham Lincoln. Above the portrait appears the national motto "In God We Trust," while the word liberty is written on the left side. The year 1951 appears on the right side of Lincoln's portrait. If the coin was struck at certain branch mints, you will also see a small mint mark below the date. On the reverse side of the coin appear the inscriptions 1 cent in United States of America, with 2 wheat stalks on both sides forming a classic agricultural design. Above these words appears the Latin motto "E Pluribus Unum," which translates to "out of many, one," symbolizing the unity of the many states that make up the United States. This reverse design gives the coin its popular nickname, the Lincoln wheat cent. The design of the Lincoln cent was created by the sculptor Victor David Brenner, who designed the coin in 1909. The coin was introduced to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the birth of Abraham Lincoln, one of the most respected presidents in American history. Before this coin was introduced, American coins usually displayed symbolic figures such as Lady Liberty instead of real historical leaders. The Lincoln cent therefore marked the first time that a real person appeared on a circulating United States coin. Brenner's portrait of Lincoln was admired for its simplicity and realism. Lincoln is shown facing to the right with a calm expression, reflecting his leadership during the difficult years of the American Civil War. The designer's initials VDB appear in small letters on the coin, honoring Brenner's contribution to the design. The 1951 Lincoln wheat cent was produced in large quantities by the United States Mint at 3 different facilities. Coins without a mint mark were produced at the Philadelphia Mint, which was a main mint of the country. Coins with the letter D were produced at the Denver Mint, and coins marked with S were struck at the San Francisco Mint. The mintage numbers for the 1951 pennies were very large because pennies were widely used in daily transactions at the time. The Philadelphia Mint produced more than 284 million coins in 1951. The Denver Mint struck over 625 million coins, making it the largest producer for that year, while the San Francisco Mint produced more than 136 million coins. Because of these large mintages, the 1951 penny is generally considered common, but collectors still search for examples that are in excellent condition. In terms of its physical characteristics, the 1951 Lincoln wheat cent was made from a traditional copper alloy consisting of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. This composition gave the coin its familiar reddish color when it was first minted. The coin has a diameter of 19 millimeters, a weight of approximately 3.11 grams, and a plain edge without any ridges. When newly produced, these coins had a bright copper shine known as mint luster. Over time, as the coins circulated and were exposed to air and moisture, the surfaces often turned darker shades of brown. Coin collectors pay close attention to the color of copper coins because it can significantly affect their value. In numismatic grading, copper coins are usually classified as red, rhode, when most of the original color remains, red-brown, RB, when the color is partially changed, and brown, BN, when the coin has mostly darkened. The inscriptions found on the coin carry deep historical meaning. The phrase, "I in God we trust," became a regular feature on U.S. coins during the 19th century, particularly after the American Civil War, when many Americans wanted to acknowledge the nation's faith during a difficult period in history. The word liberty represents the central principle of freedom upon which the United States was founded. Meanwhile, the Latin motto E pluribus unum has appeared on American coins since the earliest days of the Republic. It reflects the idea that many different states and people come together to form a single united country. These inscriptions, combined with a portrait of Lincoln, give the coin strong symbolic meaning that goes beyond its simple monetary value. For coin collectors and historians, the 1951 Lincoln wheat cent is an interesting piece within the broader field of numismatics. Many collectors attempt to assemble a complete set of Lincoln wheat cents covering all years from 1909 through 1958. Because the 1951 coins were produced in large numbers, they are usually affordable and easy to find. However, high-grade coins that show sharp details, minimal wear, and bright original color can still be quite desirable. Professional grading companies evaluate coins based on their condition, using a scale that ranges from poor, P1, to mint state, MS70. A circulated 1951 penny may only be worth a few cents, but a mint state example with full red color may be worth significantly more depending on its quality. Another interesting aspect of the 1951 Lincoln wheat cent is the possibility of mint errors and varieties. During the minting process, coins are struck using heavy presses and steel dies. Occasionally small mistakes occur, producing unusual coins known as mint errors. These errors may include off-center strikes, die cracks, double strikes, or other irregularities. While most 1951 pennies were struck normally, collectors sometimes discover unusual pieces that display these features. When such errors are confirmed by experts, they can increase the value of the coin because they are much rarer than ordinary examples. Historically, the 1951 penny also represents the later years of the wheat cent design. The wheat ear reverse had been used since 1909, but only a few years after 1951 the design would change. In 1959, the reverse of the penny was replaced with the Lincoln Memorial Cent, which featured an image of the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. This change marked the end of the classic wheat cent era that had lasted for nearly 50 years. Because of this, coins from the early 1950s, such as a 1951 penny, represent the final period of one of the most iconic coin designs in American history.